Fire. Rashesh Shah of Edelweiss joins in. Rashesh, the market looks happy. Are you?
I think after today's budget, it came in very difficult times. If you look around, most people are happy. There are obviously some niggling details and all that people will query and may feel unhappy about. But overall, I think there are a lot of things in the budget that are there to feel happy about. I mean, I'm sure you've spoken about a lot of this on privatization, disinvestment, on FDI increase, on the 35,000 crores for the vaccine, which also I think is a very good start. The vehicle scrappage policy, a lot of this are going to improve structural demand in the economy and also help us put COVID behind us and get to. We do believe that India is on a 5-6 year growth path now, and that the medium long term growth is only going to be restored with this particular budget.
Two of those topics, Rashesh, FDI and insurance. That's a big one, is it not? Does that really open up potential for that sector, you think?
Yes, as you know, we need capital. We need a lot of capital from abroad. We need a lot of investments from abroad. So I think this FDI and insurance is good because this allows the insurance sector to grow faster. Insurance sector is very capital intensive, and this kind of long-term equity capital in India is only so much. And if we have already allowed 74 in banking, so I think insurance was waiting to be asked that. But with this extra capital that the insurance companies will get, I think insurance companies will play a big intermediation role in really channelizing household savings into long-term investments. And I think that we have to use the market mechanism, the insurance companies. I do believe that we have overused the banking sector, and even hence, setting up a bad bank and all can only go so far because a lot of this require market-related answers through the bond market, through AIFs, and through others because they don't burden the banking sector. The banking sector is very burdened because they take deposits, but those deposits are on call overnight, and that puts a lot of burden on the banking sector to take risk for long-term investments in the economy.
What ramifications does this have for the LIC IPO, though, Rashesh? And generally, in terms of how LIC is run, it is sort of the last man standing when the government needs it. Will that have to change?
I don't think so. I don't think this impacts the LIC IPO much. I think, as I said, this will increase investment in the insurance sector because most insurance companies are currently strategic partnership. They are JVs, and most of the foreign partners already own 49%. So there is no real foreign capital that can come in. But when you increase foreign holding to 74, a lot of the portfolio investors, a lot of the FIIs can also come into insurance companies. And I think even for LIC, though LIC, I think even 10% of LIC is a very big number. So whether LIC was at 49 or at 74 will be an academic conversation. But I think it does reignite a lot of interest and investment opportunity in the insurance sector, and B, allows the insurance sector to play as big a role as the banking sector has done in capital formation and channelizing capital for long-term growth in India.
You have a deep understanding of the primary market, of course, Rashesh. On that disinvestment figure, though, I didn't hear any fresh names in terms of disinvestment or privatization. Did you hear anything that you think the market will be excited by? As someone was pointing out earlier, Air India has been a 22-year story now in terms of selling that one.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I think the ones which have already been announced, the Air India, the BPCL, LIC, all of them, they itself, I think, will allow the government to meet the disinvestment or the privatization target that is there. Again, I think there are two parts. There is disinvestment and there is privatization. I think the disinvestment, I personally think on a long-term basis, this getting 1.5, 2 lakh crores a year is a very small number. I think government needs to go towards 4 to 5 lakh crores a year, and that can only happen through massive privatization. So I think this announcing of a couple of banks will be privatized, LIC, disinvestment, at India, BPCL, all of that. I think this year numbers will get met, but I would have hoped for a long-term disinvestment privatization strategy, and I would have liked the government to say, you know what, we will raise $300 billion over the next 5 or 6 years through disinvestment and privatization. allocation, because government at the end of the day has what I call a capital allocation problem. They've allocated a lot of capital to banks and Air India, and they need to reallocate it back to infrastructure and healthcare and education.
Hmm. As we have seen in the past, Rajesh, the market will do what it will do today. What is your sort of medium-term takeaway from what you heard today for the capital market and the fixed income market?
I think overall the faith in the Indian growth story has been restored, and it's not only today. I think last 3 months, because what happened around COVID time, especially between April to August, there was truly a questioning of COVID's impact on India, India's growth story, whether it has been derailed forever, all of that. I think since October, the foreign investors, the investors' confidence in India's growth story is coming back, and I think today's budget has only given a has actually propelled that confidence further. So I think the part, because India appeals to investors only because of its growth, and I think on growth, I think we are now back on track. Today's budget has also enabled that, and that itself is going to bring a lot of interest in the market. Also, as we all know, global flows are good. The US dollar is expected to go down. A lot of interest in emerging markets. But amongst emerging markets, I think India's growth prospects now look the best.